to be increasing its grasp on the world, right? Everybody's using it from schools to students to whoever, right? Everybody's using AI, right? Of course. So here's our question for you today. Should AI be used in the music industry to write music? Should AI be used in the music industry to write music? That is the question that we have for you today on our Facebook page at Extreme Country. So join in on the discussion. Do you think that AI can be a useful tool to help some people, or could it possibly change up the entire music industry itself? So should AI be used to write music in the music industry? We'll hear from you guys coming up in just a little bit. And we will also be having an interview with somebody who has been using some AI to help write music. So we'll that's kind of the explanation behind the question here for you today. But we are going to visit with Mark Gentile, who is writing some music with the help of AI. And we want to ask you guys, should AI be used in the music industry to help write music? We'll have the full interview with Mark coming up in just a bit, and we'll also get a look at weather coming up next.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust?
Menards. Seal Best White Elastomeric Roof Coating stops leaks and revives aged flat and metal roofs. It reflects the sun's heat to help you save on energy costs. And it's easy to apply with a brush, roller, or a sprayer. Shop our entire selection of Seal Best products today on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for all of the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
And taking another look at a weather update here for you today. Looking like it is 64 degrees. Pretty overcast skies here for you right now. Maybe a little bit of slight drizzle out there, depending upon where you're at. 71, showers likely here today for you. Low of 59 tonight with slight showers and mostly cloudy skies. 80 degrees on Friday, mostly cloudy skies. 90 on Saturday, mostly sunny. 68, showers likely Saturday night, and a good chance of thunderstorms on Sunday with a high of 87.
Hot country hits from Extreme Country. Bring it now.
Today we are visiting with Mark Gentile, and Mark, you've got quite the busy sheet here for you. You're a former retired police officer, now installing HVAC, and yet somehow you find time to become a music artist. So how did that all get started?
Well, to me, I always loved music. I always loved country music, all kinds of different types of styles. And I think we were watching like American Idol one day, and they were talking about how, you know, they write their own music and stuff. And I said, you know, I've been around that background, enjoyed music with family for years. I thought, you know, I think maybe I can write one. And so I sat down and thought, what could I write about that's dear to me? I wrote about the street that I grew up on. And then I just started writing it and kept going, and I liked the words. I like how I wrote it. I thought, I like it. This is going to be good. But that's kind of how I got into it. I had this song for, like 5 or 6 years. And I wrote it, and I sat on it that long because I tried to put like background music to it, and actually tried to sing the song myself, and it just wasn't working out. I recruited my brother who has a background in music, and said, hey, can you help me with these, with getting the right music for this song? And I sent it to him, and we just didn't get it done. It just didn't pan out. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I never forgot the song. I had it this time. I could, just recite it off the top of my head. I was like, I just really wanted to finish this song one day. I really wrote it not only for me, but I wrote it for the neighborhood that I grew up in, because when you hear this song, you'll see the closeness that this neighborhood have that's not present really that much today. And I really wanted them to hear it. I didn't want them to read the lyrics. I wanted actually a true song to come out of it. So that's kind of how it started.
So with the first question obviously being, okay, you wrote a song, but nobody's performing it. So how did we get a song going here? Where you had told me that the song was all done completely by AI, which I wouldn't have known that upon hearing the song myself. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. They got a nice beat to it. But then you had told me that all the song was performed by AI. So how exactly did that kind of be the fit where this is where the music careers kind of go towards?
Well, since I had no avenue to turn to, I was introduced to this app, and I went, you know what? I think I can drop my lyrics that I wrote into this app, and I didn't really know what would come out of it. And the app's called Suno, and a lot of musicians are using it. A lot of people use it kind of the same venue that I am right now. And when I dropped it in there, you had to tweak it how you wanted it. So you had to go, okay, what kind of style do you want? I felt the way the lyrics were, it definitely needed to be a country song. And so I chose like a country rock type vibe to it. And I also chose a male vocal, since when you hear the song, it's definitely, me. I want it to be, a guy singing this. And then chose the pace of it too, the cadence of it. Then I just kept kind of tweaking with what I wanted. And once you get it all in there, then you basically hit a button to see what comes out. Well, on that particular song, I went through several different takes that it wasn't it. So I had to keep going back in there and tweaking with what I wanted. And finally, the song that you hear is the final cut. It's almost very reminiscent of if you have a home musicians in a studio and they're cutting an album, or they're talking about doing this album. They're playing with the different music, and hey, let's add drums here. Let's do this here, and they go take after take till they decide this is exactly how we want it, and then they play it and they go, okay, that didn't sound right. Let's tweak it a little more, and that's kind of what I was doing, was just kept tweaking it until I got the final product that you heard and what I came up with.
Now, it's not unheard of that a lot of musicians kind of use the help of computers when making albums, because there's a lot of solo artists out there that they're like, oh, I just play guitar, I just do vocals, and then they were looking for a kind of a drum beat to kind of help them out, and they use the computer. But the difference is that you're using it for the entirety of it, which might make a little bit of, I guess, kind of a problem for some people, because it's like, well, he's not doing anything. How is it any different than just AI completely doing the whole song? So I guess in your opinion, how is what you're doing different than what young up-and-comer is trying to do by just making their own beats themselves?
I expected some pushback when, this comes out, and I totally understand that. What everyone has to remember, this is kind of an alternative way of doing things. It's not going to replace what the current, people actually playing instruments and singing. This is just an addition to it. I think it enhances it. But for someone like me, that I don't have any musical talent, I can't pick up an instrument and play. Like I said, I can sing, but not the quality of what I want for that song. So this AI program gives people like myself, and I know there's more out there, that, hey, I can write, but how can I finish this song? And that's kind of like I was going through. I mean, it gives me another avenue to choose from to make music. And the most important thing is that we want to hear good music, and this is what we want. And by no means is this replacing what we have today. This is just an addition to kind of enhance the music industry. And like it's been used, but by no means this is not going to replace it. This is just, it helps people like me create music. And I think people, like I said, there's probably some pushback and like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want this, I don't want that, But when you're listening to songs on the radio, if it's a good song and you like it, and you find out, oh, well, this is AI, but you really like the song, I don't think it's really going to matter in the long run. And with me, when people say, well, you really didn't do anything, well, I did. I mean, I wrote every lyric of that song, every word was mine. The structure, how I lined up each lyric one after the other. I didn't have AI write one word, one phrase. I didn't ask for their recommendation. It was strictly me. I had a lot to do with it. Without the lyrics, you're not going to have the song. They kind of go hand in hand. I'm very proud of the outcome. Did I have help with the music? Yeah, because I can't do that, but I can write. I think I can write. I hope the listeners think I can once they hear the songs that I did. It just definitely enhances what we already have.
Here now is the chance to listen to Mark's song, Wood River Drive, which Mark had wrote the lyrics and everything all himself. It is just being performed by AI. You can also join in on our discussion on our Facebook page at Extreme Country. Should AI be allowed to be inside of music? But before you make your decision, let's listen to what Mark has to offer, and we'll let you decide as well from a listener standpoint about Mark's song, Wood River Drive.
Let me tell you a story about growing up in Omaha. In case you didn't know it, that's in Nebraska, y'all. I grew up in a time where it was great to be alive. I'll never forget being raised on a street called Wood River Drive. Growing up there in the 70s, if I could describe truthfully, it was downright heavenly. A place where you had 20 mothers and 20 fathers too. So don't misbehave because they're all watching you. On the 4th of July, we would block off that street, have a patriotic bicycle parade, and then we'd sit down to eat. At the end of the day, we would play some ball. It was the east side versus the west side, one hell of a brawl. When it got dark and the fireworks show began, I always wished that this night would never end. Let me tell you a story about growing up in Omaha. Family, friends, and celebrations, it was the best place of all. What a wonderful time to be alive and raised on a street called Wood River Drive. Playing street football while listening to the Huskers on KFAB radio with my now vintage Kenwood speakers jammed into the window. Brimmer yelling man, woman, and child, with my mom cheering defense. It was awesomely wild. Collecting 50 cents from neighbors for a $5 Husker pool. And if you actually won it, it was so freaking cool. Let me tell you a story about growing up in Omaha. Man, woman, and child, it was the best place of all. What a wonderful time to be alive. Been raised on a street called Wood River Drive. When it got cold and Christmas time came around, the neighbors all pitched in and decorated the town. The street never looked better, all decorated in lights. We had cars lined up for blocks to see that beautiful sight. Let me tell you a story about growing up in Omaha. I just loved how the colored lights would warm up the cold night. What a wonderful time to be alive and being raised on a street called Wood River Drive. Now that I am over 50 and long since moved away, I still cherish those memories every single day.
Continuing to talk with Mark Gentili about his music, do you think, honestly, if there was more of a human touch to the song, where if you were playing something as simple as a tambourine in the background, do you think you would have received as much pushback from it being an AI song, or what is your opinion on that?
I don't think people would really matter if, in your example, like if I'm playing a tambourine or a guitar part of it, they're going to say, well, I mean, they could say the rest was this. I think as time goes by, I think people will accept it more. And, you know, I expected some pushback, and I totally understand that and respect that. This music isn't replacing what we have currently, and it's not going to. I think it can I think it can go hand in hand and work together to make even better music. And it actually gives artists the opportunity, hey, let's run this, and I want to do it this way. Let's see what this sounds like. And then, oh, okay, this is what it sounds like. Now let's do it. And let's go with this. Like in my 2 songs that I wrote, I would love to have an artist sing my song. I would be honored. I'm honored that you contacted me and said, hey, I want to talk to this guy. I want to see what he did and how he did it. And I think, people should be aware of it. I think people will like it and accept it, but I think musicians, too, I get why they would be concerned initially, but I think if you separate them and you're clear with that and you're not trying to conceal anything, I think it would be accepted. I think people will enjoy it, musicians included. I think it'll help them in the long run, too.
I think it's just also part of the evolution of how music is going, because way back in the 60s and 70s with the introduction of the synthesizer, I know a lot of people were upset about that because it wasn't technically an actual instrument, where it's not a physical guitar, it wasn't a physical piano, it was all electronic sounds. And then in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, you had sampling going on. So a lot of R&B and rap groups just took little bits of sound off of tape cassettes and just tried to formulate lyrics off of that. And I guess this is just the modern day telling of it. So when it comes down to it, I could say that, like you were saying before, it's just the next phase as to how the music industry is evolving.
Right. Yeah, you make excellent points there, because it's an enhancement, and in everything, as you can see, it just progresses forward. Some people don't like change, and I totally understand that, and again, respect that. And by no means am I trying to do something that would be insulting to musicians and singers alike around at all. And I would never do that. I mean, the reason why I'm writing songs and doing this is because of the respect that I have for these guys. And I'm envious that I can't play an instrument or sing to the quality that they can. But if I can write music and someone can play it, whether it be a live person or a computer, I mean, that's what I'm going to do. And with me, I mean, I'm using a computer, yes, but they're working with me. They're reading, the computer's reading my lyrics and goes, okay, how should we play this? And if I don't like it, I'll tweak it and get it to how it should be. And that's what this is in my book. It's like, it is a collaboration between me and this AI system to make a song. That's kind of where we're at. And I think, and it's kind of like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people are doing that currently, and it's just little increments of it, but this is just taking it another step forward.
So as far as your journey with the songwriting and going through the AI process, has this maybe inspired you to try to learn how to play an instrument and maybe kind of shift away from the AI focus, or would you like to kind of keep things the same?
Well, yeah, I've tried to play the guitar and tried to play the piano. I just don't have this. That's not my skill set. My brothers were able to do that. I didn't get that gene to be able to master that. And I'm getting up there where, I don't know if I have enough time to learn it to get to the level that I want to be at to perform and to get the quality of songs that are out there. I think I'm going to stick to where I'm at, but you were talking about inspiration. Since I wrote Wood River Drive, the first song, I've been encouraged. I have 2 sons, and they're going, you need to write more. He goes, if you're not, you're kind of cutting yourself short. So after the first one was completely done and I kind of had it out there and people seemed to really like it, I wrote my other song. So it's, and that's about Where'd the Time Go, kind of where I'm at. And I actually like that song equally as much as the first one. So Where'd the Time Go was definitely inspired by what I did with Wood River Drive.
When songwriters put a little passion into their music, you can feel it, especially when you look at songs like Jamie Johnson's In Color, Alan Jackson, Remember When. It's those real big songs that you feel the passion behind, not only when they perform it, but also when they play it. Do you think that maybe some of that passion gets a little lost in translation because the AI isn't doing exactly kind of like the emotional feel that you want it to when you wrote the lyrics?
No, because you get the ability to keep changing what is being sung and how it's sung. So you can kind of go in there and make it like you want. Like both songs, I'm very happy of the outcome that came out of there. That's exactly what I wanted. when I first started, did I initially think that was going to happen? I really didn't know the answer to that, you know. And then when I heard it, I was like, yeah. And I totally agree with you. You know, one of my, like, Tim McGraw, he's a big inspiration for me. And the song, you know, Don't Take the Girl, you know, music's all, especially country music's about storytelling. And he can tell us, you know, there's so many. You can go through it, Toby Keith, Waylon Jennings, go through the list. But that song in particular, how it progresses through to Take the Girl, how he was a little kid and, you know, he didn't want her to go, and then now he's dating her, and then they're going to have a kid, and, you know, he's going to lose her because, you know, she's giving birth, and just a progression. And that's my inspiration on all my songs. Everything was kind of a progression or a storytelling thing. It went from one level to the next. I think that what I used definitely conveyed what I felt about those songs and the feeling for it.
So kind of moving forward, what are some things that you would like to do with your songwriting? Would you like to try to just talk more about maybe trying to get people to enjoy the AI programs that they can use, or try to encourage people to maybe jump on board and join in on this? Or would you like to kind of maybe focus a little bit more on just going back and telling more stories and just kind of making your own individual stamp as far as the music industry?
I think people should experiment with it and see, especially if they're in the same position that I am in. And after talking with numerous people about it, you know, they go, oh, I wrote this song and I did this. And they, like with me, I mean, I sat on the Wood River Drive song for, it was over 5 years. You know, I'm 60 now, and I was in my 50s when I wrote that. And I sat on it because I didn't have anything to do with it. So, and then I found out other people are in the same boat that I am and have that same inspiration. Hey, they want to complete this song. With me, I guess I want to continue writing it, but the most ultimate compliment is say an artist actually, hey, I like the way you write. Can I use your song? I mean, that would be, you know, a dream come true. And I would like to take it a step further and someone actually heard my music and they knew it was AI and they went, you know what? I think we can improve on this, or I want to put my spin on your lyrics. That would be the ultimate compliment. And I would jump at that in a second if someone said, hey, I want to use your lyrics. Can I? Yeah, you can. I mean, I wouldn't even hesitate.
So do you have any social media pages or anywhere that people can go to maybe learn more about you yourself, or where they can go to learn more about the music that you have written so far?
Well, I have it, both songs that I completed. It's on Spotify, and they can find it. They just look up the title, they'll see it, and they can hear it for themselves many times as they want to. I do also posted the songs on YouTube and Facebook, and so they can hear it on that too. But I have a channel that they can kind of see what, I guess, kind of person I am outside of this interview. But I do, I go junking with my son, and we have a YouTube channel called Let's Go Junkin' Omaha, and it's about, I do a bunch of different stuff in there. I do restoration projects, painting, all kinds of different stuff that I post on there, and they can see that, and there's all kinds of different other stuff.
That was Mark Gentile on Extreme Country 105.7. We appreciate him stopping by and doing the interview for us here today. Let us know again on our Facebook page at Extreme Country if you think AI should be in music, and if you are a fan of it, then you will definitely appreciate Mark's next song, Where Did the Time Go?, which is coming up next year for you on Extreme Country.
Where'd the time go? It always seemed like you had enough. Where'd the time go? This getting old thing sure is getting kinda rough. When looking in the mirror I used to see a young man, and now it's so hard to believe I just don't recognize that guy looking back at me. Where'd the time go? I wanna go back and begin to reminisce. When I do, I remember it just like this. Riding your bike with friends for endless miles, and I think of all of our adventures. All I can do is smile, playing outside until the street lights came on. time go? It seemed like yesterday you were only a kid. Where'd the time go? Now you just have overdue bills and more responsibilities, God forbid. Finally getting your license and soloing the very first time. That freedom and feelings you had was so incredibly fine. Your parents say, now don't go very far. You really didn't care, 'cause you could finally drive that car. Where'd the time go? It seemed you were 16 just the other day. Where'd the time go? I want that year back if only there was a way. Going on to college and met a girl that became your wife. You then settled down, have kids, it became a storybook life. One day a student, the next you're a dad. It can't get any better, who the hell could be sad? Where'd the time go? You look at your grown-up sons. One day they're babies and the next two successful men. Where'd the time go? I hope they know I'm so damn proud of them. And I explained to them both, one day will come when we can't be together. So keep me in your heart, and I'll stay there forever. I look back at the mirror.
That was Mark Gentili on Extreme Country 105.7. We definitely thank him for spending some time with us here today. And, of course, we also thank him for doing the interview. And, again, you can always go to our Facebook page at Extreme Country and join in on the discussion whether or not AI should be used to help music. In the case of Mark, of people who are looking to just kind of get some music going, or if it might be the next big record-breaking sensation. You never know. Well, we do thank him for stopping by today, and we'll, have something to look forward to in the future about whether or not AI will be a part of the music industry.
This 4th of July, light up the sky with Boji Fireworks.